Hello, I want to tell you we've got some mind-bending and out-of-this-world music to discuss on this episode today. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, let me tell you why you should be. I'm Skylar Davis, owner of Culture Shock Clothing and Records here in Rockford, Illinois. Longtime vinyl collector, music lover, and also collective with cultureshockshop.com, which is our website where you can find the records we're talking about here on this episode. And this channel, we like to do vinyl happy hour and have a little vinyl discussion, have a drink, and talk about some new releases or some of my favorite picks for the week. Every Thursday night, dropping a new episode. So please keep up with that. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff, please, and follow us on our other social media platforms. But first, I just want to jump right into some music that just kind of almost caught me off guard this week, and that's the fun thing and the most entertaining thing about music and record collecting and checking out music that's coming into your local record store. This first one, let's just start right now. This is like a special, limited, exclusive, import-only version of the new BLOOD INCANTATION album, Timewave Zero. And I had faith in these guys. I've known this band for a few years now, some Denver area death metal band, I would say, but they've always had kind of an ambient element or kind of a psychedelic experimental part going on behind the music. This is not what you would expect at all, and I actually didn't know how far they were going to take this and really change this album. This is Timewave Zero that just came out. This is another example of something really interesting, and I'm really happy to see that they put a little decal on here. So if you were expecting more death metal, you're not. This is a completely ambient, synthetic, kind of out of this world soundscape. You know, there's no vocals, no drums, no guitars, really, all sorts of just different instruments and synths. But the little hype sticker, let's say, well, also I love how BLOOD INCANTATION, you really can't read their name. It's like still using that kind of death metal bloody looking logo. So it's spelled out on the hype sticker, but I love that they added this little excerpt. Experience the new EP of cosmic, cinematic, and epic dark analog psychedelia. Also for initiates of Tangerine Dream, Popol Vuh, and Dead Can Dance. It does come with the CD. This is the gold transparent. So I love that they say it's for fans of those types of bands, which are more what we call Krautrock or ambient experimental electronic. This record comes in a really cool gatefold, great art. It's kind of on this flat thing. I also love the photo of them with all these kind of different instruments kind of on this mountaintop somewhere or whatever, just kind of out of this world looking artwork. But this album, I actually thought it would be more experimental and stuff like that, but their albums have been hard to get. Their last album or whatever, The History of the Human Race, just a really cool death metal piece. I guess, I don't know if they're still going to keep doing death metal or if this is just kind of like a new thing they wanted to try or had a chance to do. Totally unlike, and it's just, it moves in movement, so it's not really songs because each thing kind of floats from one thing to the next. Sounds great. The vinyl also luckily is impeccable. No flaws, no defects, no little snaps and cracks, so it doesn't take you out of that element. There's a very low humming kind of synthesizer effect underneath a lot of the music as it slowly moves from one thing to the next. It moves in like 8 movements, I guess they say, so it's not really like songs or anything like that. It does come with a CD. But just really, I'm not sure if this is something where, you know, maybe half the fans of the death metal stuff would pick up on, but also there's like half of other music fans who wouldn't like their death metal stuff that would like this, what they're doing. I just think it's a really great sounding thing. You know, it's definitely like if you're watching possibly like a space movie or documentary or underwater thing, it's like the score to that, what would be. And each movement's about 20-something minutes long. So it's a great listen. I actually listened to it last night and took the dog for a walk, went out. It was kind of raining. The sky was really kind of light gray and strange looking. I had the kind of X-Files feeling just looking around after listening to this. Very cool. Very, very cool album. Here's another one. I wasn't going to do my proper job. I wasn't really going to listen to this album. I was just going to kind of present and talk about it. But that's the great thing about doing this is I really got into the new Diablo Swing Orchestra. What is this called? Further? No. Swagger and Stroll down the rabbit hole. This band, whew, wild. I never take notes. This is also on blue vinyl. They are a Swedish band. Just strange proportions. Hard to explain what their sound is because it is really all over the place. So I also kind of wanted this because one of their older albums is kind of rare, collectible, and expensive. And I was like, oh, okay, this could be cool because it's kind of rare and obscure. But I usually just float on with this show and just roll through it. I actually took just a couple little notes because I was so mesmerized by the all-over sound of this avant-garde, neoclassical, progressive metal album with male and female vocals. But So if you're a fan of like maybe Ghost, Twin Temple, Squirrel Nut Zippers, I know that's the zaniest mixture of music that you could hear from this, but this is like a classical future electro orchestra album. I kept hearing circus music, even some flamenco, there's tuba and stuff like that. Tracks to check out on this album that really turned me on to want to get it and listen to it more and listen to the whole album were War Painted Valentine and Speed Dating an Arsonist. So just by hearing the track titles, you know you're in for something pretty strange. You know, it's kind of a shtick. Like I've heard of like Brass Against the Machine, like the brass band doing Rage Against the Machine songs. But this has a lot more instrumentation, orchestra, and vocals behind it that just go all over the place. There's even, you know, some heavier kind of almost thrashing guitars and pounding drums with the orchestra music going on. I don't think we could say like, you know, I don't think we can say gypsy jazz anymore or something like that, but I would say like Django jazz, you know, like Django Reinhardt, kind of the French jazz composer and guitarist. I hear some flamenco and even Spanish influences sometimes, and folk influences, believe it or not. But this is a wild zoot zoot riot kind of metal album all over the place. It's so fun and so weird. Just kind of a happy little accident. And for someone like me, this is something great. I can't wait to show more people and make them listen to it. I swear I heard like some Tori Amos even in it and stuff like that with some of her orchestral vocals and stuff like that. But yeah, cool artwork. Very strange. Kind of reminds me of this, I don't know, Looney Tunes Space Jam era thing with the band all illustrated down there going down the rabbit hole. Cool gatefold. Double LP on blue vinyl import. Not the cheapest thing, but I think it's pretty limited and probably already sold out. What we're doing though is like a lot of these records, most of them we're keeping for in-store only for purchases, but if you watch our videos and follow this link that I have to the website in the video description, we're at least taking 1 or 2 or 3 or more of whatever we have the most of and making sure there's at least a couple available for you. If you're watching these videos and want to purchase them for shipping, we'll ship them right out to you, or if you want to choose in-store pickup. So do check that link below, and we made it simple. I put it all under the staff picks for you to find. So that's the Diablo Swing Orchestra, the Devil Swing Orchestra. Wow, a lot of fun. I have one of their older albums, but I'd honestly been busy, never gave it a deep chance. So going with a drink for tonight, I was like, what do we do? We're talking about some Swedish and otherworldly stuff. I was like, I usually drink a bourbon or something while I'm doing this video, but I actually got a little Catel One, which is a Netherlands company. Vodka, add a little bit to my coffee, a little octane to my coffee. I was like talking about some of these European bands and stuff, had me like, let's get a European drink, you know, most people associate. You know, that's one thing to note out though, is that a lot of bourbons and whiskeys and stuff like that, everyone associates, you know, Tennessee or Kentucky with it, but you can get them from all over the place, a lot of other states. Same thing with Russia, same thing with vodka. Not all of it has to be Russian, that's for sure, and I realized I've never bought a Russian vodka before. Just Buffalo Trace and Catel One, but anyway, this is kind of a sad one, but kind of an interesting one. This is the not sure if it'll be the last because we don't know how many recordings there are of Juice WRLD still that might be available out there. But this is Fighting Demons through Interscope Records. This is the, I think, 4th now album from Juice WRLD, sadly, who died at a very young age. Very talented rapper, just a very talented individual with a lot on his mind. Obviously a high anxiety person, just struggled through what he did and worked super hard to create his craft and his life. Sadly, you know, you hear in his music and stuff a lot about his drug use and other things like that, which is just a total bummer to see that ended up being really what took him at such a young age. But he was such a talented person and made so many recordings, I guess. They have found some more that were not finished or not released before, although it may not be what I would call a unique original release from a Juice WRLD album. It's, under any other rapper's terms, it would be an amazing album, of course. And I think since he is gone so early and only had really a couple albums out, this is one that anybody who's a Juice WRLD fan should get. There's obviously some collabs with Justin Bieber and Sugar from BTS and Trippie Redd and Polo G. Some stuff like that. It's a double LP too, so they didn't just sneak out just a few tracks or anything. There's a lot of material here. Although not all of it is super complete, it's very good. Juice WRLD was just this, oh man, just such a wordsmith with it. Even though there's like so much, you know, a vocoder and effects and auto-tuning and stuff on his vocals, you can still hear his approach and his words, you know, and that's the other thing too, is it's very understandable. So you can hear all of his words. It's cool gatefold. He always had kind of all of his art and stuff he was into, kind of being so much younger than me, just kind of reminds me of that like early Sega, Nintendo, Mortal Kombat era. A lot of really into comics and stuff like that. And there's some new photos on the gatefold and on the inner sleeves. Nice thick black vinyl. There's a couple really sad parts too. There's 2 parts where he's speaking, talking about his problems, a lot of mental anxiety and other things like that. And then there's also a little track, a release from Eminem, talking about, you know, who Eminem really valued this guy and thought he was an amazing rapper too. And Eminem, though, is talking about his drug issues and drug problems and pill problems and how he thought that was normal use and stuff like that, and how he really got away from it and worries about people picking up on drugs and stuff like that. So hopefully this could be a message to people who are having issues or problems. But it is just a great album to add to your Juice WRLD collection. I think a must-have for that. So switching gears, I've got a couple of reissues I just want to mention now. Those were all kind of some new releases for the week. You never know what I'm going to present on this little show. I like to talk about a lot of special indie store exclusives, of course a lot of limited things or reissues, stuff I'm into or stuff I think you should know about. This is an old school East Coast hardcore band, Madball. This is a 2005 release, Legacy, which had never been, I thought it had never been on vinyl, but the hype says never available in the US before. I guess it did get released in Germany when it first came out. 05 was a pretty dead year for vinyl in the States, mostly CD and cassette, beginning of downloading, whatever. No, just CDs, I would suppose. But this release, they only made 500 copies. So I would snatch it up immediately. Don't wait on this one because these will sell out. I noticed that the German ones, when this did first come out, have all sold for like $1 to $175 or something like that. Which I've also noticed older Diablo Swing Orchestra albums have sold for that much or are selling, if you can even find them anywhere for sale. People don't let go of them. But anyway, these guys, you know, have a lot of connections to like Agnostic Front and stuff like that. Some of the really street tough, you know, old school East Coast hardcore bands, just good metal hardcore, some good screams and stuff like that. A nice, not really a short album, but a nice quick punch of an album. Madball Legacy. Like I said, Madball records are hard to get. So, but yeah, I think it's also cool how they did this. The artistry behind making records, collecting records, the way they can do this kind of 4-way split. They're calling it a quadrant or quad black and blue. I thought that was cool, kind of special, and obviously just something to get. Before I talk about my final album, which you're going to think I'm a nut or super into this band, just talk about some reissues that have finally come out. And this is cool. The Run the Jewels first album come with a little poster inside. This is like they're calling it some sort of like indie alternatives or something like that, or RSD Essentials, although it's not a record store day release. It's like some releases that are only available to independent record stores. But I love how side 1 and side 2 got the 1-finger, 2-finger. This, we haven't had, in stock for over 3 years probably. So they've finally reissued it on orange vinyl. So definitely jump on, you know, this great hip-hop piece. I'm not going to show it off too much here, but if you know Run the Jewels, you know Run the Jewels. Run the Jewels 3 also out on gold vinyl, and it's a double LP with inserts. So those are super, just kind of a random reissue. Run the Jewels are a lot of bands that are just in demand. The pressing plants just can't keep up with keeping them out. So, gosh, we'll mention there's just so many other things going on. I haven't had time to review everything. I ended up deep diving into Diablo Swing Orchestra and some Juice WRLD and some stuff. I actually planned on getting deep into the latest Beach House album, but that just shows you how many great new releases there are. Tool, Opiate 2. They actually have reworked and re-recorded like the live version of their Opiate song. Much longer extended version. Also comes with a booklet, 46-page, you know, art and stuff like that. It's DVD, Blu-ray, so high quality. Also, like commentary behind the scenes on that song. Another one a lot of people have been asking for, gosh, Blink-182 Greatest Hits, double LP, finally just got reissued. But let's talk about this reissue. This is the Ghost Opus Anonymous, and it's from Rise Above Records. But they did this really special, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but turquoise glitter gold vinyl. It's super, just beautiful, just such a cool dark album too. I love Ghost. I just want to say I'm not a super Ghost freak, but maybe I am because I now pretty much have all their albums. They just dropped Impera, their latest album, last week, and then this gets reissued. I also love the nice gatefold packaging and this cool like foil kind of coloration on it. Nice gatefold. And then I got a shout out to my buddy Jared, our employee, who got me this little Funko Pop, the album version of it, Music Rocks one. So super nice of him to gift me that and making me officially a Ghost Freak now, because I have t-shirts, all their records. This, can't consider myself a total Ghost Freak until I go and see them live, which might be happening. This album, although I think it has maybe some songs that I like maybe a little more than are on the new album, I like the sound and the recording of the Impera album. It's super sharp. This one sounds great too, and it's definitely in my head a little more. I've heard it over the years a lot more, but it's been quite a while since this has been available. They reissued actually a gold glitter version of it with gold vinyl a few years ago. Very hard to find. So that's it. That's kind of all I wanted to drop on you for this week. There's so many other things we could talk about. There's so many great releases dropping every week. And Record Store Day is coming up April 23rd. There's going to be so many releases for that. Of course, we do have either a large amount or some of the very limited ones, a few available for you. Just head over to cultureshockshop.com or check that link below. Please subscribe to this YouTube, Culture Shock Clothing and Records. And get the notifications, please, so you know when we're dropping videos, because besides our Thursday video, we do want to do a few new videos with some guests and maybe talking about some different kind of fun episodes that aren't just about some new releases and maybe even some audio equipment, because I tell ya, there's a very deep world of having nice and vintage audio equipment especially, which I'd like to discuss a little more. So until then, thank you so much for watching Vinyl Happy Hour. Cheers!